Hello everyone, welcome to another movie review that I do. 5 years ago, roughly to the day, I jumped on a trend started by YMS called childhood trauma, where you would basically run through and give kind of a brief recap or review of shows or movies that scared you when you were a kid. And in that video I talked about Courage the Cowardly Dog, Mr. Meaty, and the subject of today's video, Zathura. And the subject of today's video, Zathura. Zathura? I don't fucking know. Like I said in that video, I just went over the one scene that scared me, the robot scene. Truth be told, I don't really like that video. Like a whole minute of it is just dedicated to some stupid Cory in the house gag. But the main problem is I really just wanted to talk about Zathura, but I felt like since everyone else was doing multiple things that scared them, I felt like I needed to talk about two more things. And I rewatched Zathura a while back. I forget what for. I don't remember why. And I had a fun time watching it. I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure because I don't feel guilty for things I like, but it is a guilty pleasure in that I can kind of acknowledge it's kind of shitty. Well, it's not, yeah, is it? That's why I'm making this video, because I wanted to talk about this movie. For those that don't know, it is a spiritual successor to Jumanji, in that it is also about a board game that comes to life. So let me get into my main conflicted feelings on Jumanji. I fucking called it Jumanji. My problem with it is that most of it is just generic kids movie fare. Like this whole opening, this whole first scene really, before they get into the game, it's fine. Like it's standard kids movie fare. Like I just called it that, but it's true. Nothing that exceptional happens. I remember as a kid, I would literally always skip over this section and just get to the board game, which I don't think is inevitable in this kind of movie. Like, I don't think we should just take it for granted that the opening of a movie like this just has to be boring, because I think there would be a way to make it interesting. Do something interesting with the filmmaking. I don't know. Or make it shorter. It is 17 minutes before they find the game, and even longer before they actually start playing it. And that would be fine if this opening wasn't just like every other kids movie. That's really my problem. It's not bad. It's just like I've seen it before. I've seen it in like a bajillion other live action kids movies. The movie's an hour and 40 minutes long. That's 100 minutes. Takes about 20 to get to the actual good stuff. So that's 20% of the movie that I just find kind of boring. But then we get to what I find to be the part of the movie that I enjoy. And that is the actual obstacles that come out of the board. Part of why I find these little obstacles so fun is just because it gives off this vibe of kids playing at playtime, like imagining. Like the whole movie is set in the house. It's not like Jumanji where they go out into town and there's this whole big grand adventure. It feels like two kids playing around in their house, which gives it this sort of charm. And also the fact that, spoilers, a lot of it was done practically, which gives it a more real feeling, which I'll get more into when we talk about the robot. So these things have weight to them. I think why I really like this whole opening, not the opening was boring, but the opening to the movie proper is because they're just two kids. In Jumanji, you basically immediately get Robin Williams and the woman, I forgot her name, basically right off the off. And the kids are kind of forgotten after that, like it's a Robin Williams vehicle. And I feel like part of why I like this part of the movie is because there's no adults,
Their older sister fucking dies.
It's just these kids. I remember watching this as a kid and liking this movie more than the original Jumanji, because for this portion of the movie, keep in mind, I'm just talking about this portion. We'll talk about that later. It's just these kids. And as a kid, that feels far more adventurous and fun than going on an adventure, and also there's some adults there. And it also contributes to this feeling of it's just kids using their imagination and having an adventure. The kids take another turn on the board, and we get the robot scene that traumatized me as a child. So he gets a card that reads,
"Your robot is defective." What does that mean?
So this is basic filmmaking stuff. You get the nice tension up. Oh, crisis averted. And now we're back to tension go up. It's a nice little roller coaster moment that it's simple, but it's effective. I will say, even though it is a bit cringy, it's nice that the kids are kind of cringy. Like he says, that's something a kid would say. It's kind of annoying, but kids are annoying. And I like that the kids do feel real. Their acting is not good, but at the end of the day, they still feel like real kids. Jesus, I forgot how fucking scary this thing was. Okay, so why did this scare me as a kid? Let me explain to you why this scared the shit out of me. I had recurring nightmares about this fucking robot. For one, it actively tries to kill this kid. No fucks given. This thing is trying to murder this child. And also, I think a big reason this was so scary was because they actually built a practical robot, and it feels like it is actually inches away from these kids. It's that scene where he has his arms stuck in the wall and you can see him like move his joints, and the way his joints move is just so visceral and real that it fucking terrified me.
Also, just the fucking sound design in this scene, the voice of the robot and everything just is so great.
Alien life form must destroy.
Also, just the design of it with its big fucking bulky frame. Like, it's about adult sized, but the fact that it is that these are kids dealing with this means that they are like so much smaller than this robot. It's great. I actually love this scene. And I also think it's nice because the kids are in danger. This thing wants to murder them, or at least it wants to murder one of the kids. Most kids' movies, it's like, oh no, they'll get caught or whatever. It's very ambiguous. In this one, it is crystal clear these kids are going to die, which makes it much more. It adds actual tension to the scene. I mean, you're aware that it's a kids' movie and they're not going to die, but it feels more real and it feels more adventurous. It captures that spirit more. And I think they knew how scary this thing was, because I feel like they tried to make it less scary. Because when the kid is running away from it, it like bulges through the fucking door frame and like it slides and bumps into things. But as a kid, that didn't make me any less scared. It made it actually kind of more scary because this thing isn't like coordinated. And then even when the robot is defeated, they immediately show us there's like a little mouse creature that operates this whole big giant robot, and they show that he is working to repair this robot. So throughout the whole rest of the movie, there's this ticking time bomb element where you're not quite sure when this robot is going to come back. Then they're visited by aliens, which again, their ship is like also practical for the most part. This didn't scare me as much. I'll just say right up front, I'm not quite sure why, because these are also, they want to murder these children. I also like how the house just gets completely fucking wrecked. This portion of this movie is my favorite because, like I said, it invokes this sort of childlike sense of adventure and wonder. And you remember how I talked about how I loved how the kids are at it alone and there's no one to help them along? Well, they just piss right all over that when Dax Shepard, of all people, shows up and is like, I know how to solve this problem. I'm guessing since Jumanji was actually just a vehicle for Robin Williams, they decided, well, this movie should be a vehicle for another comedian. Let's get Dax Shepard in it. I don't want to say he ruins the movie, because that's mean. But he kind of ruins the movie. Because now these kids, now they have an adult with them that can sort of solve all the problems they're facing here. It just makes it less fun. Because as a kid, your parents are your comfort zone. And I feel like since they had no one else to help them on their adventure, they were out of their comfort zone. They were going on an adventure. Now, while it's not their dad, they basically have a father figure in Dax Shepard. That's the first time anyone said that. To help them along. And I feel like that loses some of that adventurous spirit that the movie actually had captured. There's some bickering and disagreements, which are fine, but again, standard for a kid's movie. It's like, oh, this is the second act low point. Let's get this over with. And it's like, oh, now they have the whole family to help them out. So then the astronaut, Dax Shepard, I'm not going to call him by his character name. I don't even remember. I literally only know him as Dax Shepard. He reveals that he once played the game, and when they got to a shooting star, he wished his brother away, which is a nice little parallel with the two main kids, Danny and Walter, and it serves as a nice cautionary tale for them, which is nice. I like this scene enough. It's fine. Keep this in mind for later, though, because we get into some silly bullshit later on. So then the aliens from earlier, the Zorgons, come back and attack the house. They're these lizard people who are also practically done. And there's this whole nice scene where Danny has to go into the Vogon ship to get the game. It feels dingy and industrial. And it's just a nice scene. I don't know why the Vogons, why do I keep calling them the fucking Zogons or the Zorgons or whatever? My fucking phone going off. This is a great review. I don't know why they didn't scare me as much as the robot. I'm guessing just because I find like the unfeeling, big, massive body of the robot scarier than like a gross, tentacly lizard. I mean, they also do feel real because they were practically done, and they also established that they want to eat these children. So, I mean, that's pretty scary. And just when they look like they're going to be eaten by these Vogons, the robot comes back. Oh, my favorite. And this fucking robot gets his fucking little mandible fucking hand around this child's neck. He plays a card called Reprogram that he received earlier in the movie. It's like a Chekhov's gun thing. And instead he hunts the Vogons. I said it correctly. So I feel like, oh, at the end he fights the villains. But again, that didn't help. In my dreams, I just didn't get that card. And then we get, oh god. Then we get this scene where my defense of the movie kind of falls apart. So far, I would argue it's a mixed bag, but ultimately it's fun. This scene is just what the fuck. It's revealed that Dax Shepard is actually Walter, grown up. And okay, that's okay, that's the twist you want to go for, fine. But then Dax Shepard touches this child and de-ages into him and then gets like sucked into him, and it's fucking weird. Ugh, it's It's not good. And then we get one last action scene, a nice reveal that there is a black hole. And then everything's back to normal. Again, which I like because it contributes to this feeling that, oh, they were just using their imagination and not literally like, oh, it was all in their heads or whatever, but that feeling that they were just playing, right? While their parents weren't home. And then we get one last short scene. Like the beginning, it's standard kids movie fare, but at this point I'm like, okay, the movie's built up enough goodwill that I can be like, fine with it. And that is Zathura. What a mixed fucking bag. Ultimately, I feel like the action scenes are extremely fun, which is good for what this movie is trying to be, a fun adventure movie for kids. And it kind of nails that tone. But the opening and the parts with Dax Shepard aren't that good. They're kind of what you would expect from a movie like this. And it's just a little disappointing. So do I recommend this movie? If you can tolerate some of the kid movie isms, then yes, I would. But if not, don't. Because, like, I enjoy this movie, but I can recognize this is not, like, some masterpiece that is overlooked. But mainly, I just wanted to talk about it because I feel like I haven't seen people talking about this movie, which is strange because I feel like it's actually alright. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Leave a comment. If this is your first time watching me, I do movie reviews every month. I do a bunch of other shit, gameplay, all on the same channel because I don't know what brand consistency is. Yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed, I guess. That's what you're supposed to say as the YouTuber. Yeah. Bye.